So this is the larger rover build, and I wanted to go close and show you some of the details and sort of how it was built. So we'll start off with the front. Now we've got the front of this uses the large dome piece that was used on the Blacktron. I think it was Blacktron, the large base. But I've used it in the same way that the Magnetron, is it Magnetron? The M-Tron large vehicle, I think it's called, is it Magnetizer or something like that? I've used it in the same way they used it for that, in that it hinges forwards and forms the cockpit of the vehicle. So here we've got, so on the front of this piece, well, essentially what would be the top of this piece, there are some studs. So I've got a rotating forebrick down there that kind of holds it in place against this, and then it's held in place with two pins so the entire thing can pivot. And that lets you get inside. So you can see here how the top of this fits onto one of these rotating bits. We've got another one there, and what this will do is when I put that back on, see that those two would line up, and then you have one on the front and one on the back, and that's what pins it in place, and that's how it works on the M-Tron one as well. Inside we've got space here for a pilot, and then two co-pilots who sit in here, and they've got little computers there, little computer screens, and they've got some smaller screens alongside them, and then we've got an entryway in here which leads to the next section. I've also added some sort of like some small pipes down there just to give it a little bit more interest inside. We can see, right, so what I wanted to do with this truck was that I wanted the front and back to be both connected together somehow, because what I like to do when I build is have it so that you can kind of imagine the people that actually live inside it and how they would use it. And my question would always be, well, how would they get from the front to the back without leaving the vehicle and getting in the front if they were in, you know, if they were in no atmosphere? So my idea was that somehow the two bits would be connected. So what I've done is added a tunnel. There is actually a tunnel between the two, and it is an actual tunnel. There is a gap so people could theoretically walk between it. So you would leave the cockpit and go through this little hole, and then this part lifts off to give you what is the sleeping quarters in here. And there's two beds and a little computer thing, and obviously there is the tunnel that leads to the back. And what I've done is left enough of a gap. I know it's not like airtight, but there's enough of a gap there that when you rotate the vehicle, it clears it, and because it's got a smooth top on it, and we've got this plate that sits here, it clears it when it rotates back, which I think looks quite good. Now I just accidentally ripped the side off this, which I will put back on. I like that. Now that's the front, and we've got a load of sort of greeblings. We've got pipes and lights and dishes. We've got a little radar dish over here and some antennas to sort of make the front look complete. And then we're moving through into the back. So on the top we've got a computer station for one dude with the really these aerials. These aerials are always like damaged and bent and broken. It's pretty rare that I've found one that's actually in decent nick, and that one's not too bad. Anyway, so we've got a radar dish that folds down for transport, mostly because I couldn't fit this on my shelf with it being so tall. So it folds down for when the vehicle's moving. So this deploys out. It uses the red panels from the Blacktron ship, and it rotates around, which is quite nice. And there's a little gap here, which, if we can see, if I rotate the whole thing around, has some stairs on it, because that is the stairs that go downstairs into the vehicle. Now this whole panel at the top lifts off, so if I just fold this back down for storage, for movement, and that whole panel comes off, and then we're down inside. So then the stairs continue down, so there would be somewhere for them to walk up and down. The stairs actually sort of hang out slightly out the bottom, so when you put that on, it connects to the one that's down there and makes it continuous stairs. We've got a little guy here with his computer screen, and then we've got a medical bed with like a screen and some medical stuff. There's also a helmet and gas tank right next to the back door in case you needed to use that for exiting. We have got another one the other side, and then we've got like some plants, and we've got a little computer screen terminal and another plant inside a like a glass housing, and then another computer terminal there that you can stand on, and then this whole section can lift off. At the back here we've got a door, a sliding door, which you can just see through there. That uses the similar system that was in the Galaxy Explorer. The back of the Galaxy Explorer uses that system where you've got a door on rails that you can sort of slide forwards and backwards, so I've done the same thing there. We've got a VTOL, little flying VTOL that sits on the back on this little platform. So the bottom of it is square with a slight indent so that it can sit there and not fall off the back of the thing. And then obviously this whole thing comes off to reveal the bottom, and the stairs continue down there, and then we've got another sliding door here which hides the toilet, and we've got space from equipment on this side, and we've got two wheels here which are the spare wheels for the buggy, and we've also got a kitchen with like a little stove and a little cooker underneath, and then like a coffee station, because basically all you need is food and coffee and space anyway. Vehicle sits here, comes up the ramp at the back. The vehicle deploys out. It folds down a bit so that it takes up less space inside the vehicle, so we can actually fit it in. So that guy comes up here and parks there. And then we've got two spare wheels here for the vehicle, so if anyone needs to fit those, they can. Got a bit more storage for equipment space. And that is the general structure of it. And I often build most of my vehicles so they are modular like this, in that you can take them on and off, because I think it really helps with the playability of the vehicle. So there we have it. Now it's missing a wheel hub. The downside, the one sort of like design fault really that I've got with this is that these hubs, there's not enough of the rod sticking out to actually connect to the hub, and they do often fall off. I don't know where the one for that's gone, it's probably underneath the vehicle. And what I've actually done for most of these is put a teeny weeny bit of glue inside the end of the the dish as I put it on. Not like a hard glue like a Pritt stick or something just to bind it on, so that it doesn't fall off the end constantly. But I really like how this one's come out. I think it's quite a nice large vehicle. I mean, it is pretty big. If you were to compare it to, I don't know, if we compare it to the that little baby vehicle that came in the set recently, it is massive in comparison to that thing. I mean, if you knew the size of this part, then you can pretty much work out how big this is. It is pretty large. So there you go, that's a bit of a tour around the large rover. There's a few more details on the top here we can see, like we've got removable air tanks, and yeah. What do you think? Leave some comments below.